and this time everything looks correct. Okay, for anybody who is just hopping in, I was live at 7, but I definitely called it Rocket League because that's what I did the other day and it was awesome. But today I'm practicing cello, as you can see, and I have kept my streak going every day. Yesterday being my anniversary, I didn't practice a whole lot. I warmed up and then I played a couple of our favorite songs for my husband, and it was just really laid back, low key. So really nice way to spend our anniversary and like 15 minutes of cello. But sometimes you need a day off. Plus, my right thumb pad was getting pretty sore because tension is something I keep when I bow. So always a work in progress, that one. Okay, so as I was saying, I have figured out how to do the live duet. I'm just warming up with an A major scale real quick, and then we're gonna get rolling. So welcome to the stream. Thank you for being here. Feel free to say hi, ask me questions. I'm here for that as well, and we're just gonna have a fun time. It's a hot day, but we're making it happen. Okay, and there we go. Where was I? I was at like G sharp, I think. Just going for intonation right now. Got my tuner in front of me. And I'm listening to it live, which sounds really cool in my ear because of the delay. Ceiling fan affects how I hear these notes too. It's really weird. And relaxing. Do a little bit of contrary motion. If you see me sitting still while playing cello, tell me, because that's a problem. I need to know. My teacher always said I was too still. can hear. To be a crutch and also a hindrance. I'm not gonna listen to myself anymore. Okay, we're just gonna shake it out. Shake it out. Because that's a lot for my left arm at this angle, and this piece is gonna be... Alright, let's get to it. So, again, thank you for being here. I've got my book, Beautiful Music for Two-String Instruments. We are on number 1, Festival March by F. Mazas. Who knows what the F stands for? And I recorded the bass line the other day. So, we're going to listen to it and go for the melody sight reading right now. Here we go. Recording now the first part, well, second part of Festival March. Okay, gonna pause that. Sorry for that clipping. I know that's loud. The cello's gonna be way louder than my voice though, so this is fine. I think this is a good volume. The cello's gonna be way louder than my voice though, so this is fine. I'll turn it up just a little bit. Fingers crossed this goes well. This is the first time I'm doing a live duet. Here we go. Fingers crossed this goes well. This is the first time I'm doing a live duet. I'm not going just yet because my family just got home. So, just 2 seconds while I let them know what's going on. Of course they know I'm live, but patience is worth it, right? We're gonna go for it. We're gonna go for it, and if they're loud, well, that's what happens. They just picked up food for everybody, so, here we go. And I won't monitor myself anymore. That was probably really confusing for you guys, so thanks for bearing with me. Okay, there they are. There they are. 2 seconds. Do you think... Okay, we're going for it. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for putting up with whatever that sounded like. As you know, monitoring with these headphones, they would have gone into the stream and it would have been this crazy feedback loop and really confusing. So I look forward to listening back to see what that was like. But that was supposed to be a live performance of a duet with myself. Friday self, actually. Wait, is today Friday? No, Thursday. Whenever I recorded that. I think it was actually Monday. Thank you for being here to witness that. It was a good time. Okay, well, we've learned Festival March, and let's talk a little bit about duets. One thing that I was trying to do on the fly, but that's kind of hard when you haven't rehearsed with your duet partner, is beginning and ending phrases together with the same kind of breathing, the same kind of energy. So you may have heard in the recording that was playing me sniff, and that's a way to lead your section or your fellow quartet members or whoever's in your group. So, oh, hi Breezy! Thanks for being here. Yeah, that sniffing, it's one of the key ways to communicate with your fellow musicians. So I remember I hit a couple of those ideally. I think I even got the ritardando done pretty well. That was toward the middle of it. And if I hadn't sniffed in the recording, gosh, I would have been at a loss. So really glad that happened. One thing I would wanted to do more is when you're playing the supporting part, when you're playing the bottom part of a duet, you want to kind of buoy the melody and make it feel like it's going somewhere and it's not stagnating. So even though I've got these repeating quarter notes and they're all dotted just over and over, if the melody has long notes like wah, wah, I want to make sure that my quarter notes are moving exactly in time, but they're not they've got like a nice vibrato to them. They are shaped, so I'm like slowly, quietly crescendoing through and then decrescendoing, rising and falling with the phrase. So that's hard to do on the fly, having not rehearsed with my partner, me. But I think for a first run, that was pretty good. I might come back to this and work on it on my own as a duet, like in recordings, and then try again later on stream. But honestly, this is the first one in the book. There's so many duets. So I think we are good to put this one to rest for a bit. It's a lot of C major, it's great, but you know what? We like G major, and that's what's next. So hello to Gamer Goose. Hello, glad to see you here. It's always cool to see my friends in the stream. I know you, Gamer Goose, you know something about music, having played viola, so it's not all complete gibberish, but I imagine someone who doesn't play a whole lot of music might find this to be a little technical. But hey, we're here to see me practice and to maybe learn something about how to practice. That's my goal, honestly, and also help myself, because if I was just practicing on my own, I'd have like fallen asleep practicing I don't know how many times because I'm not consciously thinking about it. So I need to keep my mind on what I'm doing at all times, and streaming is the best way to do that because I'm on my toes with y'all. Mortem, I see you played trumpet in grade 9. Trumpet is a lovely instrument. It's really impressive what brass instrument players can do, because brass instruments, so the trumpet specifically has 3 valves, and that's it. So you have to manipulate your embouchure to hit different harmonics to get all the notes of the scale. You can't just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like on a string instrument where you just move the finger and there it goes. Trumpet, you really have to manipulate like everything about your mouth and throat to get a really good sound. So I admire brass players tremendously. Honestly, trombone is probably the most impressive to me of the brass. No, I don't know, because French horn is pretty impressive. And I love how they soar over the orchestra in big symphonies. Chicks dig trumpet players. I mean, who's to say they don't, right? Trumpet's cool. Absolutely. And trumpet, to be fair, like, trumpet's a really melodic instrument. So if you're playing trumpet, you're probably going to stand out more because you're playing all of the big fancy pieces. You're playing the really loud stuff. Trumpet cuts through. You can hear a trumpet probably a mile away. I've never tested that, but I'm sure, like, it just rings through. In an orchestra, you always hear the trumpets. Violins and trumpets are kind of similar in that way. Oboe, cellos, we kind of fade into the background because we're such a middle kind of sound. I mean, not to mention violas, because violas, they probably get the least amount of attention. They're quiet, they're low, and they have a bad rep, but they're beautiful instruments. Yes, cellos and violas are the best. Unequivocally, 2021, quote me. All right, Mortem, all right. So anyways, it's not Thanksgiving yet. I think I want to skip this one That's number 2 in this book. Our Thanksgiving Holiday. Very nice. Lovely title. How about Frivolity? That sounds like a summer song to me. Frivolity. It's just, it doesn't even have a composer listed. It just says Old Dance. So, I mean, gosh, what country do we want to guess this is from? I mean, England, France, Spain. It's probably a Western country. Probably somewhere in Europe, but who knows, because it's Old Dance, so... Clarinet, okay though. Clarinet is pretty great. Honestly, reed instruments blow my mind. The oboe, the clarinet. Saxophone though, that's my true second instrument. Like, if I could play a wind instrument, I would choose that one and I would go all the way. But I've invested 15 years into cello already, and I'm trying to make voice my primary, so I'm probably not going to get to saxophone anytime soon. But maybe I'll dabble in that later in the stream. If I can afford a saxophone in the next couple years, maybe we'll make that happen. Oh, my baby. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I have the cutest little cat. He's almost a year old. He's a black cat. His name is Shoggoth, and I'll have to put that in my profile somewhere. Anyway, Shoggoth is crying right now because he wants to go outside, but he has not been treated for ticks and fleas yet, and we're not about to let him out there by himself. I've been keeping him out of the grass, but there's only so much you can do, and there's dogs in this neighborhood like all around us, so... But don't worry, bud. Soon. In about a month, we finally get a vet appointment. Gonna pack, but I'm still listening. Okay, thank you. Enjoy the packing, and I'll try and make frivolity fun. So I guess we're gonna start learning the bass line of this one. Oh, there's one thing I really wanted to do on this stream that I haven't done yet, and I feel like maybe now could be the time, because we actually just did. Okay. Real quick. We're gonna pause on frivolity because I sing and play cello, but I try to sing and play cello at the same time, and that takes a lot of practice, and I haven't done that on stream yet. One way I practice that is when I'm doing scales. I'll sing with the scale. I'll just wait a couple notes and then sing it like it's a round. So for an example, I like A major. La. So we've got, and then I go do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, and then we go all the way back down. Ti, la, sol, la, mi, re, do. Okay, it's hard to do in tune with both, so you have your tuner in front of you, and you do your scale a few times, just the cello, and then you slowly introduce your voice, and you really try hard not to mess it up. One thing that I'm doing a lot when I'm not crippled by these headphones, I'll take them off because I'm not doing the duet anymore. I'm not using that mic, I'm using this one. So, when I'm doing that singing duet, I'm listening to how my voice and the cello interact. La, and like I bend my voice to figure out where exactly I want it to be. And then it's just a bunch of practicing with the tuner and making sure that my cello is steadfast, like rock solid. One reason this was really awkward is because I had my headphones on, so let's see if I can do any better. Sound of Music? Yeah, well, I mean, it teaches you solfege if nothing else, but it's a great musical. I actually have only seen the ending part because I caught it in the middle on TV. I've never seen the thing from the beginning to the end. Another thing is, so I'm already kind of warmed up with my voice talking here and making sure that I'm well supported. I'm not I'm not talking like down here where, you got that vocal fry and like, because that's not healthy for my voice if I want to sing and I want to be heard for long periods of time and not have a sore throat later. So you want to warm up your voice too. Again, scales could do that, but I would honestly suggest warming up your voice before starting the cello and voice practice. And there are lots of vocal exercises I could recommend, but we're going to pause that for now just because, well, unless I get like a bunch of people saying, hey, I want to hear vocal exercises right now, I'm not going to do it. It can sound really annoying. And at least the cello is a little more reliably pretty, whereas if my voice does something weird, it can suddenly sound terrible. It's really unfortunate how delicate our voices are. But anyway, so with Festival March the other day, I was plucking the bass line, and I was singing the melody with it. And I love to practice with duets because it not only makes me use my voice with my cello, but then I'm also having to think about the movement of the notes, the relationship between them, and like also I'm reading 2 lines of music at once like a piano player, which again in a previous stream I've mentioned how much I admire pianists and guitarists because they're doing so many things at once, and it's incredible to me that you can carry a melody and a bass line at the same time in 2 separate hands and just have totally separate things going on. And I know that to a degree we cellists have that. We've got our bow hand, and it's got a lot of things to think about for sure. My student would probably say, oh yeah, there's a lot to think about. And then of course your left hand is doing all this jazz. But at the end of the day, at least I'm reading 1 line of music. Then to have to do all of this at the same time and sing and know the notes for it, it's a project. So I did it for a while back in 2018. I haven't told this story on stream yet, but I went to a workshop called The Studio. It was put on by a group called Project Trio, and it was a 6-week workshop where 2 to 3 days per week for 5 hours each of those days, we would meet and we would have lessons and group work. Basically what we were doing, there were 8 participants. We had 4 flutes, a bass player, a violinist, me, and we had 1 more instrument that is escaping me off the top of my head. It might have been a clarinet, no, oboe? Yes, I think it was oboe. And so we had some really cool music come out of it. We would do some improvisation all together. We would do solo improv, like a round robin. We would build group jam sessions together. We would also split into teams of maybe it was 3, 3, and 2, maybe it was 4 and 4, but we would have sessions where us participants would write music, but not physically write it down. We were doing it all by rote memorization, coming up with an idea, repeating it to each other over and over, and then memorizing that section and moving to the next and stitching it all together to create like a 3-minute piece, a 5-minute piece, etc. And we started with like ideas and general form, and then what was really helpful was repetition, like ostinatos, repeating bass lines or repeating melodic figures that we could pepper in different places. So we learned a lot about developing music, working on the fly, making things up on the spot, being confident even if we mess up. And I loved it. I loved it all. But they encouraged us to work on our solo projects while we were there, and my project was learning to sing and play at the same time. So, oh well, now I'm going to have to do it on stream at some point, but the first song that I really got myself to do that with was Say Something by A Great Big World, and I played a cello bass line. Something like that. I'm trying to remember how the bass line for Say Something goes. And then I sang it. while playing the bass line. Very simple, harder than you think, and then, of course, I had to do more. So it's been 3 years since I really, actively was working on that, so we're gonna build up to that slowly. But, yeah, so... La, 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 etc. It's fun, but it's definitely something I'm not as comfortable practicing on stream, so let me know what you think. If you want to hear more of my singing in duet form on cello in practice mode, let me know. Otherwise, I will try and prepare things to perform for you on stream instead. Again, the voice can be tricky on the fly, and I didn't really warm up properly, so... Alright, moving on to frivolity, we are going to learn the bass line. It's in moderate time with spirit, key of G. Do love me some G. And let's see, this one has a pickup note, forte. It's in common time, so pretty standard. I think, let's see, I was performing that other one, Festival March, at 92 beats per minute. I'm probably gonna end up around 108 for this one, because I'm thinking moderate time with spirit. This is kind of like, well, hold up. You probably know that song from Backyardigans, Into the Thick of It. This is almost that tempo. It's just a little slower, I think. So, but it's got that spirit kinda, you could walk briskly to this tempo, but you wouldn't be doing this on a hot day. So I think this is great for frivolity. So 108 is gonna be our performance tempo, and handy dandy pencil that you always wanna have. I'm gonna write that down so I don't forget. Performance tempo, and then 108. Perfect. Always have a pencil when you're working on music. And is this one page? It is. It's one page. That's lovely. The other one was 2 pages, so a little shorter this one. Now, what I didn't tell you, though, is last piece actually had a repeat that I elected to skip. I'm allowed to do that because I get to choose how I do my stream, but if you really wanted to be by the book and learn that piece, it would be a good idea to do the repeat. It makes it much longer, because it's repeating that whole first section that's all in C major. For those who know more about music, we modulated in the middle to G major. We changed keys for a bit. So imagine hearing that first 2 minutes of the piece again, and then you go to the modulation in the end. So that's why I skipped it. It's just a lot of the same. With this one, it's 1 page, but it's split into 2 parts. So we have 3 lines of music and it repeats back, and then we have another 3 lines of music and it repeats back. So I don't think we're gonna do repeats on this one either. Just putting that out there. Let's see here. Frivolity, 108. We're not gonna practice at 108 because, again, we've never seen this piece before. We are sight reading. So how about 80? 80 seems fine for now. I'm doing a quick scan through everything. I know the metronome is probably loud. I'll turn that down a little. There we go. We've got some 8th notes. So 1 and 2 and da 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 da. It's really helpful to be able to sing music. So if you are an instrumentalist and you never sing, start singing. You don't have to be great. You don't have to be advertising it to the world, but learning to sing the music is gonna help you visualize the phrasing you want. Where a singer breathes is always a good place for a cellist to put a little pause. It gives the music more life. It makes it feel more organic if you're thinking of it like a singer. So try singing your music if you haven't before. So this starts with B in the lower part. We're playing the third, so honestly, it's a little tough because when you're playing the second part in a duet, you're usually the supporting role at the beginning, and it's interesting that we're playing the third. The top part, the melody, they have the root. They have G as their first note. Normally you would want to tune your B to that G. So we've talked about equal temperament before. I'm using my tuner, and it's tuned so that every half step, every note change is equivalent. So when I eventually play this one as a duet live, this one is going to be equal temperament, but I'll be listening to the part and adjusting myself to what I hear in the recording. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, number one mistake. Jeez, I played an F natural. This is an F sharp. What am I doing? Okay, so let's take this moment to make sure that we didn't miss anything. When there are two notes in one bow that are marked with dashes, we leave a slight pause between. Okay, so they're talking about a détaché stroke, slightly detached. Don't play them as sharply as if they were marked with dots. Yes, the dot ones are hooked. So we'll get back in there, and this time I'll have a little more body to it. I'm thinking just some light vibrato. We're forte. That probably wasn't very forte of me. And we want to be pretty legato. This book is telling us to be basically smooth détaché anytime we, maybe it depends on the piece. You know what, for fun, I'm just going to do legato until it tells me not to. Okay, I got carried away. I couldn't help it. I played the first 8 measures with a pickup, and ideally when you're practicing, you want to not play a whole lot. You want to absorb, and you want to work and fix. So let's talk about what we just did. That was, honestly, I still think it was about mezzo forte volume-wise. And we want it to be forte because this is in moderate time with spirit. So where was my spirit? It was focused on being legato. I think with the tempo we have talked about, with the context from the first piece we did, and with the type of bowing I'm seeing, I am going to go ahead and do a détaché. So instead of having that smooth legato between all those B's, we're going to put a little pause in between each one. Have its moment. So I'm starting this piece up on the D string. It doesn't tell me not to do that. It doesn't give me any fingering selection suggestions at all, actually, until measure 5 when I get the melody. And they're just telling me to put 2 on D so that I can reach that E. So I'm pretty much on my own here. What do I want to do? We know that so I'm looking at the top line now to look what the melody's doing. They are starting on G, going to D. Kind of like Twinkle Twinkle. But then, so, maybe A string would be better, especially because we want it to be forte. And I'm sure there will be an opportunity to be lush and quiet and gorgeous later. I do see a piano section at measure 9, in fact. So I think we'll chill and we'll do the A string. And I think that's going to sound really nice. So resetting, 80 beats per minute for practice. know if you noticed, but I had just slightly not the greatest shift there. So this is another thing to practice. Here we go. We've got... So that was a nice détaché. I'm making sure that I have a good bow angle because I really don't want that to squeak. And that's one thing that I was working on in my last piece. So, and that up bow is the beginning of the melody for us. So these notes are identical to what the first part does at the beginning. So that second D, that's a down bow for sure, but it's not a 4, it should be a 2. So I need a shift there. Now, how do I think about my shift? There are a lot of different ways to think about a shift. I'm thinking I could think about C sharp and the fact that my first finger needs to go up a whole step. But my C sharp needs to be lower than that. Closer. Okay, there we go. That's my C sharp. And there's my D. I need it to be a 2 there. Okay, alright, we're starting to get somewhere. Now, one thing you might have noticed, I was conducting myself when I do things. Really helps me to stay engaged, but also I'm trying to do my shift in time so that I get it consistent. We're at 80 beats per minute, if you can't hear the metronome anymore, which is probably a good thing. It gets annoying. And I want to make sure that I'm not just doing this shift suddenly. I want to have it baked into my muscle memory where I'm not going to think about it. I'm just going to go, oh, 4-2, whatever. And that requires slow, methodical practice and thinking about it every time. So that was one way to think that my first finger is going up a whole step and then my second finger sits down. What's another way? I could be thinking about the fact that my whole hand is going up a whole step. So I should be playing D to E, and then I can just lift the 4 and have my D. There we go. Ooh. Little high. Ooh, now I'm sliding everywhere. Maybe not the easiest way for me to think about it. Ooh. Another way to think about it is to ditch that concept of my first finger or my whole hand, although it's good to think about the fact that your whole hand will be moving. Your hand moves as one. But no, now I'm thinking about, okay, my second finger is going to end up where my pinky is. So maybe if I focus on where my pinky is spatially, like related to my head and the cello and everything, if I focus on where my pinky is, and then I move my second finger to where that is. I'm a little low. Okay, there it is. Little high. Little low. Little hey, little ho. Does anybody remember Stuart Little? There we go. Okay, all right. Now one more thing. When I'm doing my shifts, it's a whole arm thing. I don't want to just do it with my fingers because that will be messy. I want to have like a swinging motion with my shoulder, my elbow, and my wrist all working together, like a fulcrum or a pivot, or I don't know, some kind of arm at a factory maybe. I'm working with pistons over here. So when I'm shifting, there's a very slight dip and then rise to meet where the finger's supposed to go. Because it's such a small shift, it's not much. It's just a little bounce. And it's on that upswing that I'm landing where I want to be. And you could even vibrate through it. So these are things I'm thinking about while I shift. So let's now try that section with the string crossing. Okay. The D sounded pretty consistent to me. Let me watch my tuner this time. Okay. Okay, next step. Am I doing 1-0? Am I doing 1 open for this slur? It does make sense to do that. Why wouldn't I do that? Why wouldn't I do that? Well, if I am self-conscious and not hitting my A with a good bow angle, I'm gonna avoid playing open A. That's a problem, so I shouldn't. Instead, I should work on my bow angle on the A string. Oh, see, okay. We had really good consistency, B, A, B, A, B, A. And then I did D, A, but I hadn't really thought it through. And what did you hear? You heard a squeak. You heard a squeak. So that means that I still really need to think about my bow angle when I'm on the A string. Okay, I recommend playing, like improvising, when you are working on things, because I don't know if you noticed, but like I was focused on just every note and then the A string. And for a while there, it was really consistent and I had good tone throughout, and then I had a couple squeaks. And now I need to analyze why I had squeaks. But I think we're gonna do what's written. We're gonna do that 1-0. So ooh, okay, so this is interesting. In the music, there's no decrescendo. There's no getting quieter gradually. It's just suddenly, boom, piano. So, I wonder if that's intentional. I think the piece kind of naturally could diminuendo or decrescendo, get quieter slowly, because of the nature of the top part not having the melody in that section anymore, and they're going down in pitch. So by the time they get the melody again, being marked piano, they were already pretty close, naturally. That's one way to think about it, but we could also do the subito piano route where you maintain the volume and then you suddenly just piano, quiet. Let's play with it because we do have the melody right before the piano section, so I want to make sure that that is soaring. And nobody said don't go forte, so Okay, so that was the Subito piano. We were big, we were grand, and then nice and quiet. Oh, that's not a dotted. It should be. I like dotteds. I like going up the D string. Maybe we could go all the way. Okay, but we have the melody here, and it's an eighth note sequence. Sequence meaning a couple of notes, kind of in a melodic figure, that is then repeated, but changing the notes themselves, keeping the same rhythm and relationship between notes, essentially. You'll hear it in a sec. I think instead, because we're about to have that melody with those eighth notes, we should probably play at least open A when the melody starts. So instead of going all the way up, we could do that. So we start with that open D, and then we have this quiet little G. Here, instead of going extended to C sharp, we could go back to 1, and then we could do an extended B, and that would put a second finger on A, making a shorter shift for the melody when we come back to first position. So I'm thinking maybe we'll do that instead, because I'm opting for a few small shifts instead of 1 or 2 really big ones. And also, I want to keep the timbre as consistent as I can. Timbre meaning kind of the sound quality of a note, like how fuzzy it is versus how sharp, how smooth versus rough. These are all metaphorical ways to describe timbre. It's just how the note kind of feels to you, the timbre. For example, this B, I would call it dusky compared to my B on the A string. The B on the A string is brighter versus like softer, darker maybe. Anyway, open D. Okay, so that was very pretty to me. I'm very glad to be playing this piece. So first, let's work on that shift a little bit. We went from 3 to 1 on the C sharp, and that is kind of a hop. So let's see, how do we think about that? Relatively, we've got our first finger moving back a minor third, so a whole step plus a half step. So it's quite the hop. I think, let's see. We could try to shorten that shift instead of doing such a big one. We could, come on. Up bows are a little tricky, I guess, for bow angle as well. Ooh. We could do third position. And then that's just a half step away. That's That's not so bad. And it's also what we come back to, which could help with the consistency in the pitch. And it's an easy shift. Well, I'm thinking of it as easy for me because from F sharp to G is a half step. So if I think, okay, first finger, you're just going to go a half step higher than the last note played. I don't know. That helps me. Like, because first finger knows where F sharp is for me. So going up one more half step just doesn't seem all that scary in my brain. Yeah. And then, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm trying... How do I explain what I'm doing? So when I play my A with my second finger, I'm trying to make my A string vibrate to give me kind of a head start so that when I move to the up bow, there's like a brief pause in my bow, but the note doesn't pause, so that when I'm crossing strings, the sound sounds like it's continuing. And that helps with the idea of a build-up, which, taking this melody, also you can't see, but there's a crescendo marked in there. You end up with a really cool kind of built-in build-up by letting your A string ring on that. And that's also why I don't want to go, because it can be hard to build up energy in an open string. With vibrato, that's something. I'm speeding up my bow. I'm going incrementally faster, so like I'm accelerating my bow. And I'm also accelerating my vibrato as I go, because when we're doing this piano section, it's a pretty chill, wah 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 wah, laid back vibrato. I'm not going hard or anything. But then I pick it up a little. Now, is that too sudden? Am I going too fast on that vibrato suddenly? I think it also depends on how you feel when you're playing it. Does it feel right? Does it feel like the music makes sense to your ear and to your body and to your soul? Getting metaphysical here. But it is kind of a feeling thing. Once you've mastered notes, rhythms, the next step is getting to know how to express your music. You're not just playing the notes on the page to play them. You're trying to convey a meaning, a message. This this piece, there's no words. This piece is called frivolity. So you want to have that bubbling energy come through. Even in a piano section, you want that quiet, like, excitement. And then when you get the melody and the bass part, you're just like, and then you get to that D and you're just like, yeah, man. And fortunately it's forte there, so we can afford to do that. The top line gets the melody right there. After that, we get two nice full quarter notes, and then we're supporting again. Ooh, awkward bounce there. Okay, sorry, I'm playing without my metronome. I should turn that back on. Getting ahead of myself. 80 beats per minute practicing. Okay, so we've got some quarter notes. And we want them to be expressive. We want them to be rolling along, so just a little bit of vibrato, a little bit of that space between détaché. That's the style that this book is asking us to do. Other books might tell you differently, or you could always just make it up as you want. Once you have gotten to know what the book wants, then you're free to explore. You could do the legato thing like I did at the beginning. You could make all of these a really big, dramatic, romantic kind of lush piece. But this honestly feels like, classical era, like Haydn, pretty laid back, posh, precise, Western European classical tradition. So, quarter notes. Forte though, but supporting forte. I'm looking at the melody real quick just to take a look at what the top line's doing. Oh, that's cute. It might be nice to do open A in the melody there and not avoid it like I want to do. But if they're doing open A, we just want to be right on. Right on. Okay. Why am I being told to put my first finger here? Okay, because we are in second position for the end of our melody. There's that. Yeah, okay, so we'll have it on the first finger. There's that squeakiness again. Gotta watch my bow angle. Okay, alright, we're gonna pause because now we have the melody, and now I really get to think about it. I get to think about what's happening in that part. Going from... That's pretty awkward. If you hadn't noticed, I'm going from the lowest string to the highest with a very quick string crossing. And I'd really like to not do open D if I could help it. Basically, my rule of thumb, anytime I see that an open string note has a pitch longer than a quarter note, I'm gonna really want to put a finger on that, because a half note means vibrato, means it's going somewhere, means it's supporting something, or it's trying to shine over support. So if I want to do a closed D there, if I want to do a fingered D, then I need to figure out what shift I want to do. I could go into third position. So we have some options. I think instead of going open D, A like that to the F sharp from the D, we're gonna do closed A, because then we can get vibrato on it as well. Now there it's not so bad to have an open D, but if we're doing an open D there, and then we get this one wrong, it would be really obvious because we would have just heard an open D. So this is where I was thinking third position. So let's turn this to 60 beats per minute for a sec. Because at 60, we can work on more of the mechanics. So aha, another trick. So you're playing low D. If you're in tune, it'll make your D string ring and your A string. So if the D string's ringing, I can key it a little bit. I can let go on the half note just a little early. And then place that A with my up bow. Okay. So I think I'm convinced I'm gonna do it. But the next note, I think I'm gonna do it on the G string instead. Plus, I love how my E sounds on the G string. I don't know, just, oh, I like the way it sounds. So, and then I can stay in this position. I can just stretch for the G, and then I'm right here where I can just shift a whole step. Ooh, but now they're throwing in another wrench, because if you hadn't noticed, this melody part repeats. So I'm gonna do that twice. Let's see. And this is the part I'm like, ooh, what should I do? B to G to F sharp E D. So with that walk, maybe it's too much work, because that's the other thing. Remember, we're going to be taking this piece eventually at 108 because we want that moderate time with spirit. So la da 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 da, la da 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 da, la da da da, la da 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 da. So we don't want to be hung up on all these shifts. We want them to be boom, 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 gone. So maybe instead I will suck it up. I will do an open D. And then in that case, it's just shifting up to the, or I leave it open because the top part has, and if you do that right, your D string's ringing anyway. So honestly, I think that's what I'll do. Okay, so I've made my peace with it. We're gonna put a 4 on the A. We're gonna do the open, da da da, ba da, and then we'll shift up to 4 on the D for la da da, and then still 4, la da da da. Then we'll be in first position, so la, and then 4, so first position for the rest of that, and open D. Okay. Alright, so then looking at the melody in the first part, good. They're actually, they have a 1 written on that F sharp when the top part gets the melody the first time. So that means they're gonna do a 4 on the A anyway. So we'll put that there. Oh, and it looks like it's kind of baked in what we just took maybe 10-15 minutes figuring out, I guess we could have just looked at the top part and known. But see, now we know we're right? Ugh, thinking about practicing. What a journey this is. I love this. This is great. Thank you again for being here, by the way. When's the last time I acknowledged all of you fine people? Thank you for taking time out of your day to watch me practice cello. I hope you're enjoying it, that you've learned something, or that you've been inspired to do something for yourself. I'm having a lot of fun. I am back on my cello, finally. This is day 8 in a row. And gosh, I took basically a 2-year hiatus, maybe 3 years of hiatus from like really practicing my cello and doing active improvement. So I'm really glad to be here, and I look forward to where we're going. We're sky's the limit. I will eventually be doing more original things on this channel, but for right now I'm getting back into the swing of things. If you heard me talk about singing, hey, it's Tripwire. Hey, are you going live at all today? Because I need to raid somebody at the end of this. If you know anybody who's live, let me know and we can raid them, because that's a thing people do. They raid, and it was fun to do it for the first time to Tripwire stream the other day, fellow cello. Oh yeah, no, I understand. Sharing walls. I used to share walls. Probably another big reason I didn't practice much over the last 3 years. I got self-conscious because I was so inconsistent about when I would practice, how long, what time of day. So yeah, having neighbors in an apartment building also kind of killed my motivation. Now I'm in a house with my family, my dear family, and yeah. All right. So while we take a look, I might just send us to someone random, I guess. See, someone named DJ Kengal is on here. 52. So the 6 of us, we'd raise him up a little. That'd be fun. There's a lot of music things recommended to me. I'm glad this is happening. Oh yes, okay. We've got a vote for Kengal. I think that's what we're going for. And if there's a different pronunciation, please let me know. Okay. Hey there. How's my brother doing?
Can I talk?
You can talk a little.
Oh, I'm good.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I like watching you do your thing.
No, thanks.
I noticed you were doing a raid.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do a raid.
Oh yeah, I was just watching you do that because I've never really seen the process live.
Oh yeah, no. Basically at the end of a stream, I type /raid Kengal or DJ Kengal, and then the stream is automatically taken there after a few seconds. It's pretty fun. Okay. Why don't you go log on and you can raid with us?
I'm watching Castlevania.
Oh, Castlevania's cool too. Well, have a good day, my brother.
Yes, I love you. Enjoy
love you too. Probably finishing within the hour. Yeah. No, I love that chain raid thing, because pretty soon after I came to you, we went and hopped over to, I forget how to say that channel's name, but that was a cool DJ session, for sure. Anyway, we're gonna wrap up. I think it's probably a good time to call it. We've looked at, officially, the first half of this piece, well, of this bottom line, and we've worked out the fingerings. I think we've talked about some exciting things. Cool. It's raid time. So, yes, vegan and black. They were great. I enjoyed like when they were DJing, and then the things they would hold up to the camera. That was fun. All right, everybody. Thank you again for being here. It's time to raid. So I'm putting down my cello. Always put it on its side. Don't put it on its back. I'm going to try really hard not to hit my microphone again, because that's really loud every single time my hair is not cooperating. All right. So, without further ado, thanks again for making it, Tripwire, and everybody else for being here. Did I actually officially get the 5 people talking at once achievement? I might. Baby steps. Okay, raid. And then DJ. Oh, wait, Vegan in Black is there in my offlines. There we go. DJ Kangal. Oh, no worries. Birthdays are great. Alright, here we go. Raid time. Thanks again. I need to figure out an outro. We'll work on that. Sincerely, Keadrin. Alright, here we go. Oh, I'm excited. I don't even know what DJ Kangal's up to, but we're about to find out. In 3, 2, 1. Raid now. Interesting.